Hey, welcome back to another installation of the Godfather of Aesthetics. Today we're going to talk about the 3 things that you could do to your body that will totally ruin the aesthetics of your physique. Totally ruin them, okay? I see a lot of guys out there with one of them, 2 of them. Some guys you see up on stage with all 3. I don't know what's in their mind. I know it's good to love yourself and everything, but once you get 1 or 2 of these, you get all 3 of them, you might want to keep your shirt on, at least in public. You want to save some people the horror of looking at it, okay? Okay, so we go to the gym, we eat healthy, we all want to build nice physiques because we want to walk around, we want to show it off a little bit, it's almost like a work of art, especially when you've been doing it 20, 30, 40 years, so... But there's certain things that you got to keep out of that, okay? Now, the simple things are, of course, you want to have good skin. You don't want to have a nice body with pimples all over your shoulders and your backs. Nobody wants to see that. Stretch marks, I'm lucky, man. I don't really have any. I never had a growth spurt where I blew up, overnight or whatever. But a lot of guys, they get them over here. They get them on their back. But for a lot of dudes, it's kind of... a sign of accomplishment, a rite of passage. You're going to get them. Once you get them, you're pretty much stuck with them. Although, I've been reading, there's some pretty good laser methods to get rid of some of them now. But pretty much up to this point, I've been subscribing to the notion that once you get the stretch marks, they're there for life. So I'm not really going to talk about that too much today because those things are kind of minor in comparison to these 3. Now, here we go. We're going to make this succinct, right to the point, okay? The 3 things... If you're going to get on stage or even you're going to walk around with your shirt off all proud, 3 things that you don't want to do to your body that's going to completely throw off the aesthetics, the visuals of your body, going to completely throw it off, okay? The first thing is a hernia, okay? Now, a lot of guys get a hernia, okay? A lot of guys who lift real heavy or go beltless. I personally go beltless. I go pretty heavy, but I don't really go over my limit. I know my limit. A lot of us, we know our limit. When you're younger, you don't always know it. So you make mistakes. But a hernia is basically a tear in the abdominal wall. And it could be pretty detracting to the eye. A lot of times you'll see a guy with a great set of abs will have a big lump above his belly button, or kind of gross, kind of nasty. So they can repair those. And with today's mesh technology, they usually repair pretty good. You don't have to worry about it. But back in the day, a lot of guys with hernias just get it. The thing would pop out and they push it back in. And, it would stay there until it popped out again. So it was a constant, cycle of popping and pushing and popping and pushing. And when you get on stage, man, the eye really goes to that, Even I think someone who's not in the know, when they're looking at a physique, they're like, wow, he looks really great. But what's that thing, like alien trying to come out of his stomach? So that's the first thing you don't want to do. That's a hernia, okay? And for a lot of guys, I see you in the gym. You're turning bright red, bright purple when you're training because you're holding your breath. Now, under certain powerlifting situations, they got this technique called the Valsalva technique. It's a breathing technique where you do hold your breath, but you got a nice tight belt on and it's keeping your guts inside you, okay? It's kind of easy on a maximal effort, especially under time, okay? 3, 5, 10 seconds during a heavy lift or a set of doubles or triples, that you could easily blow out the wall of your abdominal muscles. You don't want to do that, okay? You don't want to do that because then you're going to have to go to the hospital, get a surgery. It takes you out of the game for a while. Anybody who's been through the hernia surgery knows it's no fun. It really hurts, I'm sure. And it's very invasive. It's all in your abs and shit. You really don't want that, okay? So that's number 1, the hernia. Okay, number 2. Is we all are afraid of this. Nobody wants to really think about it, but you have to be cognizant of it because you got to think not to have it happen as opposed to, oh, geez, I hope it don't happen. Is a torn muscle, okay? Now, I've seen dudes back in the day, guys, like when I was 19, 20, when I first moved from New Jersey to New York, I saw a lot of big dudes who were young like me, a lot bigger than me, all right? They were younger, and I'm not saying that they did things or they didn't, but they were very, very strong, and they lifted kind of with a little sloppiness to them. They were just trying to move the weight, trying to impress everybody in the gym. We all go through that period in our life, right? But they tore a pec or they tore a bicep muscle. And let me tell you something. If you don't get that repaired right away by a really good surgeon, really good doctor, it's going to look, pardon my language, it's going to look pretty fucked up for the rest of your life. And you're not really going to be able to have that pretty physique, that aesthetically pleasing physique that you're looking for, okay? Now, a bicep, man, I tell you, some of them, you tear them distally, and it rolls up on you. A lot of guys, they'll just stick with it. I mean, Dorian Yates won 2 or 3 Olympias with a torn bicep. Personally, Do I think he was that good to win with that torn muscle? No, I don't, because in that era there was a couple other guys who were arguably just as good without any torn muscles. His back, his legs, his conditioning, his chest, all fantastic. But every time I see him in 96, 97 with that left arm that's just smaller than mine, I see it and my eye goes right to it, okay? It goes right to it. And I don't understand how people can ignore that, okay? A torn pec could be even worse. You see some guys like Kevin Levrone tore his pec, Tony Freeman tore his pec. A lot of guys have torn pecs over the years, but they got it surgically reattached, okay? And if you don't really know what you're looking at, you won't even notice it, okay? I'll give you that. But for certain older timer guys like us or guys with the eye, our eye's going to go right to us. Oh, shit, he's got a torn pec, because they're obviously asymmetrical. The left does not match the right, okay? So that's number two. You don't want to tear a muscle, any muscle. And it's usually pecs and biceps. Those are the muscles in bodybuilding that you're going to see torn the most. You don't see a lot of lats or quads. Guys who tear their quads, if they get them surgically fixed up, the quads are probably never quite as big, but they're going to be shapely. They're still going to be the same shape. They're just going to be a little smaller. I don't think a lot of guys can lift as heavy after that surgery. Or maybe it's in their mind, I don't know, they don't want to hurt themselves again, because I'm sure once you go through a very traumatic gym injury, gym crash, and we've all been through whatever level of injury we've been through, if you go through a traumatic one where you have to get carted out on a stretcher, the EMTs, that's something you don't want to go through again. You know, you don't want to have to go through the money of it, or the downtime, or the pain, or for some people even the embarrassment. There's probably nothing worse for a 300-pound big strong dude to have to get carted out of his gym, you know, by the EMTs. Everyone's wondering, wait, what happened to Big Tony? What happened to Big Rob? You know, so anyway, that's the number two, is the torn muscles, okay? The number three, and I see this not as much lately because guys are getting smarter and there's a lot of compounds out there that can help you avoid this, is gynecomastia. We call it gyno, affectionately known back in the day as bitch tits. And that's something that, if you notice on the bodybuilding stage, you saw it a lot in the mid to late 80s, okay? Mid to late 80s, early 90s, you'd see it quite a bit. Up until the mid-90s, but you saw a lot at the local level, and you saw a lot at the national level, and some of the pros too. I think what it was is guys, that's the time guys started probably up in the ante on the supplements, if you know what I'm talking about. And what happens is when you take exogenous androgen, okay, especially one that aromatizes, okay, now you can look all these terms up. I know you guys know what that shit means. When you take one that aromatizes, your liver makes this enzyme called 5-alpha reductase enzyme, okay? And normally, it's a good enzyme in your body. Your body needs it because it creates balance and homeostasis in your body, okay? But when you take an exogenous, it means from the outside, androgens, and these things want to convert, basically, your body doesn't really... A man's body doesn't have a gland that makes estrogen. What he does is his body will take testosterone, mix it with this enzyme, okay? And now it creates either dehydrotestosterone, which is no good for your hairline, you know. It's no good for having pimples on your back or having nasty looking skin, but it's very good for muscle hardness. Most of the time it's going to convert to estrogen. And when your body converts it to estrogen, your body is trying to grow a breast tissue, a female breast on a man. Can you believe that? So, you know, there's a little bit of the cross-gendering going on in bodybuilding sometimes. You know, it's kind of funny. Been going on for 40 years. Nobody really notices. But so some guys let their gyno. Now you'll start noticing, like, if you start to get a little tenderness in there, hurts a little bit when you put your shirt on, or maybe when the shower water hits you, or you're playing with your nephew, your dog, he jumps up and he scratches you, it hurts, okay? That should be a sign to you, hey man, something's going on. And they got things nowadays, they didn't always have them, but they got things nowadays called aromatase inhibitors. And what's it going to do? It's going to block that 5-alpha reductase enzyme, okay? And it's going to block it from converting whatever you're taking into stuff that you don't want in your body, okay? So there's really no reason for gyno today. Back in the day, it was a tightrope to walk because a lot of guys would get it and they'd have fantastic physiques, and these were guys that really knew what they were doing. But, you know, your genetic makeup is your genetic makeup. I'm real lucky. I don't really get side effects with anything that I do, pretty much. I'm more to err on the side of less is better. Some guys are a little more cowboys than I am, you know, and that's all good. Everybody can do their own thing. I'm all for that. I'm all for people doing whatever they want to do. But, you know, you want to be smart about it. So you don't want to get gyno. Now, a lot of times guys will get gyno on both sides, but a lot of times I've seen it where it's on one side really, really bad. And you can hide it for the most part, but in a white shirt, or if you're shirtless and you put your hands up over your head, or anything in the front, it's going to be very visible. And for the guys in the know, our eye goes right to that. It looks right at it. It's like, Jesus, that looks terrible. His physique is awesome. But, man, look at that gyno. Like, what was he thinking? And how long did he let that go? And nobody told him nothing. No one tapped him on the back. Say, hey, Big Mike, Big Tony, what the hell are you doing? You know, it's kind of crazy. So anyway, those are the three things. Okay, 2 are kind of preventable. 1 is definitely preventable. I'm lucky. I've never completely torn a muscle. I've never gotten a hernia, and I've never had gyno. So I'm pretty lucky, but it ain't just luck. I didn't want any of those 3 things, okay? And today I'm going to the gym. I don't want those, so I'm going to make sure that I don't do stupid shit. I got to stay within my lane, you know? If I start feeling twinges or feel a little weird or I'm not feeling strong, I don't want to push it, then I'll back off a little bit. It's okay. I'll go to fight another day. I'm getting older, and I've gone this long without these 3 major things. I don't want to do it again. So you young guys out there, and you older guys too, if you're older and you never got a gyno, you never got a hernia, you never got a torn muscle, good for you, man. You're doing right. Especially if you're a bigger dude. You know, I'm 275 pounds, so I lift real heavy. A lot of guys, even 175, lift very heavy for their body, so it's all relative. But you got to make sure that you don't just get snuck up on it. Oh, here it happened. You got to make sure you don't happen, okay? Because we're in a lot more control than we think of, okay? So, no pec tears, no bicep tears, no hernias, no gyno. Don't forget to call your grandmother. I'm going to be watching you guys. I'm going to be hiding in your rice and beans. I'm going to be hiding in there. I'm going to be hiding behind a squat rack. Make sure you're breathing right in the gym and you're not blowing your guts out, okay? So, if you like this video, please leave a comment below. I love your comments. I wish I got some more of them. And I'm going to try to make videos a little bit more frequently. As the weather heats up, I'm inside the house a little bit more, have a little bit more spare time, okay? So if you guys got any topics that you'd like me to talk about, and no topic is off the table, I'll talk about anything you want. I know I should get more controversial, but I'm really a live and let live guy. I like controversy a little bit, but I don't push it, you know what I'm saying? So, but if there's anything you guys want to talk about, anything, leave it in the comments, and I'll gladly do a video on it. Again, don't forget to call your grandmother. It's very, very important. I think Mother's Day is coming up pretty soon, okay? So make sure you do that. And please don't forget, share the video if you like it with people. Tell your friends about it. Please subscribe. The more subscribers, the better. We could start a little family going on here, and everybody could talk, and we could keep it in the group, okay? It'll be good. So anyway, thank you again for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay out of trouble, and hit that gym. Hit it hard, okay? Lifer. Lifer, baby.